Sky TV has this morning reported a strong full-year result to the end of June 2022 and announced plans to return roughly $70 million in capital to shareholders, something the shareholders have been keenly anticipating. CEO Sophie Maloney is with me now. And Sophie, what's the metric that you're most proud of in today's result?
Kia ora, Dita. Nice to be with you.
Thank you.
The metric for me is the return to revenue growth, 4%. First time in 6 years that we're returning to revenue growth. I think that shows that we really have gone through the positive inflection point we talked about. So that's the metric that catches my eye first up.
And can you just give a little bit of colour about where that revenue growth is actually coming from?
Sure. So it is a combination of continuing to see stabilisation in our Sky box, particularly average revenue per user and churn, but of course also from the growth in our streaming products. Neon, and in particular Sky Sport Now, has had phenomenal growth last financial year, I should say.
Do you think you've seen off competition in the sports streaming arena?
I'm sure it's a question many people are interested in. I think what I can say is that we really care about partnering in the right way. We have a team who are very focused on delivering for customers, and we're really excited to have welcomed back the Premier League to our screens for the next 6 seasons. So I think we're in a very strong position.
What's the next sort of big sporting rights that are coming up that you'll be going for, do you think?
Do you know what? And as the board and I have been having a conversation, this is the first time in a decent amount of time that we're not looking at a big, very significant renewal. The focus now is on delivering our new Skybox to customers and continuing to evolve our streaming services. So it's really about delivery on the platform, given the array of content that we have.
So the cost cutting that you'd done in the year also seems quite impressive given everything that's going on. Where have those costs come from?
Look, it's no one place. It's a combination of efforts. It's looking at all of our third-party spend. It's looking at how we produce. We learned a lot during COVID about how we can produce our sport in particular. And so it's a combination of those efforts and being really focused on the way that we look to acquire customers as well. So that has been, we've talked about a 60% reduction in our third-party costs on the Skybox acquisition side this half. So that's another place where, we're being much more efficient. And I'm very proud and grateful for the team because, as you say, Dita, we've been delivering 24/7 to customers during a pandemic.
Yeah. Are you still being advised by the man from Channel 9 on how to get more value out of the business?
I had a very good advisory relationship, with Hugh Marks, and no, we're not in further conversation. But anytime I need to pick up the phone, I can. So it's a great relationship to have.
The broadband numbers, it's the first time you've revealed those, 18,000 in the year or almost. How does that sort of stack up against others in the market, and how does it stack up against your own expectations for that service?
What I would say is that's on target for our FY22 target. So again, happy with that. Would I like it to be more? Yes. I suppose one of the numbers that gives me real confidence going forward is that of our new acquisitions to Skybox, there was a 10% attachment to broadband. So that shows me that we've got a very good runway with new customers as well as our existing base. So more to come in that space. And I suppose, Dita, it's not really about trying to compare to other players. We've got a quality service and we've still got untelco-like customer satisfaction scores. So I think we've launched in the right way. This is a really important product offering, not just for now, but into the future.
One thing I thought that was interesting, it's probably a bit soft really, but you were talking about looking at what the customers like watching, and on the box, Vera comes up as the big thing on the streaming service Love Island. Does that sort of justify everything you've done to sort of build the streaming service for the future generation of buyers of Sky?
Look, I think you're spot on to think about it being an overall platform. And really, it's about customers, whatever their life stage segment and preference, being able to watch the content that works for them. I smile because Vera I enjoy Vera. It's a lovely procedural. You can watch for 45 minutes. You don't have to continue. You get the story. But yeah, there's a definite skew between, our streaming services and Sky Box, but that's great, right? We just want to keep delivering in ways that work for Kiwi customers.
You talked a bit about digital advertising, saying that you're going to be spending more on digital advertising in the coming year. Can you just talk a little bit about that and also just set against the context of the general return of advertising?
Yeah, so look, we looked at Mediaworks because we're interested in maximising our, content investments, and also being aware that we want to engage with New Zealanders wherever they are, and obviously delivering via free to air on Prime is very important. But more broadly, I think free to access online is an area that's a bit untapped for us at this stage. So digital advertising could be simply via social media and thinking about partnerships with the likes of Google. And then we can also look at how we're actually going to better monetize some of our sites online. So those are the areas of focus for us. And again, I suppose to give some comfort, it's all within our gift. We have the content and the partnerships. It's just about making sure we've got the right capability and technology to support us.
And you said advertising is sort of coming back as a market. Can you quantify
Well,
that
so
at all?
I think last year it was reported by the Advertising Standards Authority to be a $3.2 billion market in New Zealand. And so we think that's a significant revenue prize for us to participate in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the capital return, obviously that's a biggie for shareholders and they've been waiting with bated breath for it. How did you come up with the amount and the mechanism for that capital return?
Sure. So look, we are very excited to be able to communicate that today, and grateful to our shareholders for their patience and support. The 70 million was a number that we had a very good look at where we're at. We looked at the economic headwinds in the market, but also the fact that we've got the new Skybox coming, and investors said if you can go for growth, then do reserve some firepower for that. So all of these factors went into the conversation around the 70 million, which should equate to 40 cents per share. But the court sanctioned return is effectively the most fair because it treats all shareholders in the same way, and tax efficient, particularly for New Zealand retail investors, mechanism for distributing this level of capital, given the size of company that Sky is.
And just finally, Sophie, will you be talking more today about what made Sky turn away from Mediaworks at all?
Only to note that we remain interested, as I said, in maximising our content investment, attracting new audiences, and those were some of the core drivers of why we wanted to look at Mediaworks, which is a significant ad-funded business. So that's really the reference and context. We haven't lost sight of that. I suppose the thing I would say, and what we learned along the way, is when you look at the platforms we already have, with some organic investment in those platforms, there's a big prize for us to go after. And ultimately, Dita, we want to keep delivering for Kiwis and obviously to our investors.
Sophie, thank you very much for talking to MBR, and good luck with your investor presentation.
Kia ora, Dita.